Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wingcat Sports. And now we're going to go back into some Lions news, talk about Jared Goff. And I think the first question before we even fully go into it, did Jared Goff earn his extension?
What was the question?
Did he earn an extension?
Uh, yeah, I guess you have to say yes. We want to keep this going. I think it's obvious. I really wish, you know, I look at it. This is so much about money and spending your cap wisely, and you can't keep everybody. So it's up for them. I mean, if they think, this is nothing against Jared Goff, he has been tremendous for us. But if you think you can get Hendon Hooker for cheaper and get the same production, a little more mobile, a little stronger arm, but that doesn't mean he has what Goff has up here. And Goff has matured as a great quarterback. I would say he is top 10 quarterback in the league, certainly, when he has the time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
This was not his fault. This NFL NFC championship game, you can't put any blame on it. He wasn't dropping the balls. He is what he is. You know his shortcomings, but he also, I mean, he manages the game great. When you give him time, he has matured as to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. It's just up. It's up to the coach. It's not up to us. We can get pissed off all we want. It's up to them to determine how best to spend the money they have. And I think they're going to sign him. I think it's evident. I mean,
yeah,
you don't get this kind of connection with coach and quarterback all the time. And these two, I mean, they have each other's backs, and they have gone out of their way to make sure Jared Goff has what he needs to be a successful quarterback here. And I think Jared Goff appreciates that. He may give us a slight discount. He may take a little less.
So
he's not going to give us, play for, peanuts. But he may play for $40 million a year.
So he was a top 10 QB, top 5 in both yards. In fact, he was second in passing yards this year with 4,575, fourth in TDs with 30. He had 12 interceptions on the year and was 11th in QBR at 60.3. But he had a great year. There's nothing you can say about it. Top 10 overall this year, putting all the stats together. And according to Ian Rappaport, now he's not overly too concerned on where he is in the list of highest paid QBs. He's not overly concerned about it. Now,
with Ben Johnson coming back, you have him, Campbell, and Ben Johnson. They're like Ghidorah, man. They're out there, the three-headed monster. These guys are in sync. And if we're healthy, we should be right back where we are this year.
So I think Goff is going to probably make in between 40 and 50, probably more towards in between that 45 and 50. Like you are not going to get away with probably getting too much of a discount on him unless he wants to do it. If he wants to take less money because he'd rather be here, then that's up to him.
Look at Ben Johnson. Just turned down a thing just to be here. He could have made a lot more money. He could have been more reasonable, still made a lot more money, been a head coach somewhere else. He decided to stay here. So maybe Jared Goff will take $40 million a year. Do you think he will?
He might. I expect it to be roughly near 45 if I have to take my guess on how much it is. And honestly, depending on your long-term plans too. Do you plan on having him here until Hendon Hooker is done with his deal? Do you plan on having him here until he basically retires? Are you going to give him that long-term deal?
Well,
are you going to give him 3 years or are you going to give him 6 years? What are you doing? That's what you have to look at.
If you're going to sign him, you're going to sign him to at least 5 years. And Hendon Hooker is basically not in the picture anymore.
Nope. And that's what I said when we drafted him.
You might as well just say, hey, he's going to be a backup or he's going to be trading, trade bait because somebody else might want Hendon Hooker.
So you have the option. Currently, Jared Goff is 29. He will be 30 in the new season. So you either sign him to a few years and then let Hendon Hooker maybe take the reins for a couple of years while you groom your next QB after that. Or you decide to go with the fact that you're going to keep him here until he basically retires. Maybe you sign him to a 6-year deal 7-year deal.
And you got to keep a top 5 line in front of him, or at least a top 10 offensive line in front of Jared Goff. So you got to shell out money for that, or let people go and be savvy at drafting the right people to take people's place. People are talking about Frank Ragnow retiring this year. He might not be back. His injuries might be too much.
It might be. It might be. And then you're going to be drafting a center. I don't think you're going to be signing a center. I think you're going to end up drafting a center. Or you're going to use Graham Glasgow as your center and sign him back, depending on what you want to do. But when it comes to Goff, he is going to be 30. And it depends on how long you think he should be your quarterback past the age of 30. Are you going to keep him here till he retires, which would be
I would not
maybe
keep
36
him
or
past 30,
37?
34, 35. That would be
So
it.
let's say you sign him to a 5-year deal, $45 million a year by age 35. Hopefully something good happens. And if he's still playing well at 35, you do 1-year, 2-year deals from that point.
Right.
If you want to keep him here as your QB. But that's what it's going to come down to. You're not going to get this magical sign him to 8 years and he's going to play well for 8 years. So it would be smarter to sign him to a shorter year term, more of like that 4 at most, and then go from 1-year deals after that if you want to keep him. But he has certainly deserved an extension to his contract and to stay here. He has done something no other Lions QB has done in a long time, and
Right.
he deserves his paycheck. Basically.
I don't know if deserve. I always hate that word because he gets paid well to do what he does. So if it's up to the coach to decide if he wants to, and I think it's a foregone conclusion that he does.
Especially with Ben Johnson coming back.
Right, with Ben Johnson. These guys have a connection, and you don't get that very often. That's our strength. That's the strength of the Detroit Lions, continuity. We know each other. We have a system. That's what was successful. I'm not comparing us to Belichick and Brady, but that's what made them successful, is that continuity for a long period of time. You get that. If you can hold on to it, you do. It just, like I said, the windows open and close a lot, and I still think our window's open to win a Super Bowl. But things are going to change every year, and people are going to be upset because certain players have to go. I'm telling you, you got St. Brown for how many more years?
I think a couple more. We drafted him 2 years ago.
You might not re-sign St. Brown as much as you love the guy.
You got to pick one receiver.
He's a freaking wide receiver.
If you're keeping one wide receiver, you got to decide between JMO or St. Brown.
I mean, if between the two of them, it's going to be St. Brown.
Probably.
I would guess.
Because I doubt you're going to keep both.
JMO had a hell of a game.
But JMO...
He's coming on, and I'm excited for next year for this kid. We got him for like 2 more years.
We drafted him 2 years ago. You got him for 3. Because you drafted him first round.
And then you let these guys go. Receivers are a dime a dozen. St. Brown might be an unusual case. He's a very, more because he's more than just a receiver. His attitude, what he brings to the team, you may keep him. But, getting back to Goff, I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think they're going to sign him.
Yeah, I expect him to be here for the next few years. He is going to be your QB. He technically has 1 more year left on his contract, but he will be here until at least 2030, I'm going to say, which is 6 years out.
All right.
But with all that being said, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about Goff's contract potentially coming up. Until next time, hope to see everybody soon.